Hey, this is Rich over at TVP Live with another quick tips tutorials brought to you by Photoshop Elements Custom Tutorials Group. And let's jump right in with today's poster. Wants to take this photo and smudge the background or do some sort of effect to make it look like lines going in from the edges to the center. Now, I made a mock-up, and this is what I came up with, and the poster said that she liked exactly what this had looked like. Now, there are other ways to do this kind of effect, but not straight in. There's like, if you go over to the filters, and under artistic, let's say if we go down to distort and maybe something like twirl, and you can see what it does here. It kind of does the lines, but they're not straight. They kind of twirl in a circle. It's kind of neat, but you'd have to cut the bird out and put the bird in separately, and these lines aren't straight. Either way, we still are going to have to cut the bird out. So I'm going to start with doing exactly that. And I take the original layer and I'm going to duplicate it twice because I'm going to show you something at the end. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the bottom layer. See this little eyeball? You can turn them all off or turn whatever you want back on. Let's take that top layer and choose it, and I'm going to basically cut the bird out so that way I can adjust the background separately and not affect the bird at all. So I'm going to take the eraser and look down here under the brush. There's hard brushes up at the top here, and if you scroll down a little bit, there's soft brushes, and we picked this soft brush here. That, as you can see the circle, it is down here at a size of 100 pixels. I'm actually going to come down here and change that 100 to 20, so it's really tiny small. I can zoom in really close and start on one of the edges, and I'm going to erase everything beyond the bird. And I can do it by hand like this. And see, it's a soft brush. And the reason why I'm using a soft brush instead of a hard brush is because if you look close at the edge of the bird's beak here and the whole bird anywhere, it's not a hard edge. It's kind of soft in itself. So using a soft brush is kind of mimicking the natural edge of what's already there. So now I will just continue. If I have a series of straight lines, like from here to here, I can click here, hold the shift down, come up here and click, and it does a series of straight lines, which makes going around the edges of the bird a lot easier. And I'll just keep doing that until I get all the way around and back to where I started. Once I have the bird all traced out, I can zoom out and you can see the checkerboard that's underneath. So now it would make it easier for us to use the polygon tool and come down here, choose the polygon, the lined polygon, and zoom back in. And now we can cut the bird out by clicking and clicking with the left mouse button all the way in between what we had taken out before. And this allows us to retain a soft edge, which will make it much more natural looking than if we were to have just used the polygon alone. Now we get to the end here where we started. I'm going to double click. That closes the whole loop of the polygon. You see those little marching ants? When I zoom out, we're going to see exactly what's going on here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to right click in the middle and choose select inverse. That's going to choose everything else on the outside beyond those lines. That way when I hit delete, boom, it deletes the whole background. I can hit Control and D to deselect, and that leaves us with just the bird. And now I can turn the background back on the layer underneath. As soon as I turn it on, it comes back on as if it was untouched. But that's just the next layer underneath. Now let's go ahead and start making the lines of the background. So I'm going to pick the smudge brush and then come down here and make sure it's not the sharpen or the blur, but the little finger is a smudge brush. The mode is normal, and then the brush is a soft brush, and the size is about 200. That looks pretty good. Actually, let's make that a hard brush at 200. So I'm going to scroll up to these hard brushes, click one of the hard brushes. It's too small at 19, so I'll change that 19 to 200. That makes it a little bit bigger. See that? Pretty big. So I'm going to start smudging from the edge to the center of the photo. So I'm going to click once up here, hold the shift, and come down to the center and click, and watch what happens. See that? That smudged the whole photo in the background, and it didn't affect the bird because we have the bird on. Now see, if I turn it off, you see how it's affecting the layer underneath. So I'll keep that on and do the same thing to this corner. I'll do it to this corner. I click once, hold shift, click again, and there it goes. Click here, hold shift, and click in the center. And I'll do that from each center like this. That pretty much covers up everything that we need. And we're just creating the lines from the background by smudging the background. If I turn off the bird on the front, you can see what's happening to the background on the next layer. It's actually affecting the bird on this layer. But it's okay because we have a copy of the bird up here that we cut out in the beginning of the tutorial. And now I'm going to do the same thing with these leftover ones, but I'll just soften it up by choosing the brush. Instead of it being a hard brush, I'll scroll up like this and choose a soft brush. Change that once again to 200, and that makes it nice and thick. I'll click there, bring it down, and look at that. We got it the way we want it to look. I'll turn the bird back on. Now in our case, we can actually move the bird a little bit around now that we're done with the initial smudging. And then if I want to add a little bit of a glow to the bird, I'm going to right click, edit layer style, and right here there's a glow button. So I'm going to hit glow, and let's do the glow on the outer portion of the bird. So I'm going to click outer, and then the opacity, I'll turn it up all the way for now, and then make the size a little bit bigger like that. Look at that glow. That's looking really nice. So take the opacity, and I'm going to bring it down so it looks a little more natural, like somewhere around maybe 50% also, right around there. See, 50%. That looks pretty good. I can show you the before and after. And we'll hit OK. And there we go. That's how we took the background lines and smudged everything down. Now, if you wanted to add a little more dynamic by bringing back a little bit of the original picture, let me turn off these two layers. I'm turning that off, turning that off. Turn on the original photo, which is this one. What if we wanted to add a little bit of that background just to give it a little bit of dynamic? You don't have to do this, but if you like to, let's go and turn our new bird on, turn our new background on, and then take that new background and then change the opacity from 100%, bring it down to, let's try 50%. Look what happens. It's showing some of the original background. I'll toggle this so you can see that. So you kind of get a mixture of the two. Maybe bring that up to like 75%, so it's more lines, less of the original. Whatever you want, it's up to your own desires. Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Rich, calling it quits, saying over and out.